Don't panic, everybody. This is a new episode of Low Profile. It's the podcast that stays at least 6 feet away from popular music. On today's program, Mark Lee talks over coffee with his northern neighbor, Nick Krgovich from Vancouver, BC. Nick has been writing and recording music since his early teens. In addition to his solo work in previous bands Piano and No Kids, he has collaborated with other Pacific Northwest artists like Mount Erie and Dear Nora. I'm Lonnie Morrison, Mark Lee's very supportive wife. Before we hear the interview, I'd like to suggest fans of the show to subscribe to the podcast. Leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and support the show by donating any amount by visiting patreon.com/lowprofile. Thank you for listening.
Hold on, hang on. Let me put these things in.
Okay.
Hello, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
How's it going, Mark Lee? Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
I'm
You
not,
up and running?
More or less. I took the bus downtown and grabbed some coffee and came into my engineer's studio. He's in isolation in Texas right now, Miles.
Oh, geez.
He's fine, but his parents were worried about him, so his dad lives in kind of a rural area, and they're like, why don't you just go hole up over here right now? So,
You flew down from Olympia?
Yeah.
To
He flew from Olympia to Texas, and
Jeez.
now I'm sitting in his living room, aka Studio B. It's the former Kill Rockstar studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Totally iconic. Are you rolling on your end?
No, do you want me to? I'll turn it on.
Okay. So, do I call you Nick? Do I call you Nicholas? What are you going by these days?
Everyone calls me Nick, usually.
Yeah.
Nicholas was just it's my full name. Because I had so many band names over so long a period of time, I was just like, I'm going to go very formal.
Well, that's great. I remember when I heard your first solo record, or parts of it, years before it came out, when you'd been working on Sunset for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I was recording with Lake at The Unknown, and Phil Elverum put on some top secret recordings of On Sunset. And we were just all kind of awestruck by it. And he said, I asked what kind of music he's making these days, and he said, expensive.
It wasn't actually expensive, but I wanted to make it sound expensive.
It comes across that way. I think you probably charged me like $10 or $15 for the LP, so
Nice.
it wasn't too expensive by those standards, but
No. It's alarming how expensive a record is right now, or has been, I find.
I was looking for your In an Open Field album, which I want to talk about later, and the only copy I could find in the U.S. was running for $50. So,
Yikes.
You have kept up that expensive trend.
Yeah, I think they're scarce. I don't have any copies of that and haven't for months. I only ever saw 5 copies of Ouch in real life, and I kept one of them.
Really?
So.
Wow.
Yeah, they're probably all in some weird distro warehouse. I
gotta go sneak in.
Yep.
I was just listening to the track that you sent me it was just labeled as #1. I don't know if that's the title, but I don't see the moon.
Yeah, it doesn't have a title yet. Maybe it's called #1. I have no idea.
It's lovely. Do you mind if we play a clip of it and not the whole
Yeah,
thing?
sure. Yeah.
I don't see the moon. 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 I don't see the I don't see the moon. I don't see the moon. 'Cause all before it, more questions, different kinds.
Also, my 5-year-old daughter Camille share in common is that we love long songs. And that is a long song. Goes past the 9-minute mark. And it doesn't feel like it. It's just one of those things you kind of want it to keep going, and it does, and it's really gratifying.
Oh, nice. That's a high compliment, I feel. Like, to spend time, make a long thing not seem that long. I think that's awesome. But that's mainly Joseph Shabison, who I worked with on that one. That's kind of his doing, the fact that it was so long. Because actually, when we started it, I was like, oof, this feels like a bit of a slog. But by the time we finished it, I was like, damn, I was very surprised.
I feel like when you're in the studio, you sort of want to edit yourself more than maybe you should sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's a tough balance.
We made that recording quite quickly, like this record that's coming out hopefully in the fall, but we're still mixing right now. So whatever you are gonna play is still a rough mix, but low profile exclusive. Came together very fast.
The whole record did? Mm-hmm. This is a collaboration with Joseph who?
Shabison. He's I met him through Destroyer and this band he plays in, Diana. He's from Toronto, and he's a saxophone, woodwind, or he plays flute and stuff. He plays all over the last album I did, Ouch. And he's great. We just got along as friends and just kind of talked about making something for a couple of years, and then just finally did it in a few days, really.
I know it maybe is a touchy subject, or maybe are we still talking about Ouch?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not touchy. You can talk about it.
So that record
It wasn't even touchy at the time.
Oh, really?
It was and it wasn't. Well, whatever. I mean, it's life.
It seems like it must have been a very cathartic process to like sort of get my listeners in on the theme of it. From what I read and from what I gather from the lyrics, it's you're it's a concept album about an actual breakup that you went through that was sort of your first experience with heartbreak as a full-grown man. Mm-hmm. And it's got a lot of humor on it, but it's also got a lot of, there's also a lot of pain there. And I don't think I've ever heard an album where every song is essentially about the same thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of sides to turn over when it comes to something like that, I feel. But I did feel at a certain point that I was beating a dead horse. So I was glad that I stopped, because I felt like I could have kept going as far as writing.
I think you really put out just a really good, solid piece of art there, though. That
Thanks.
It's sort of, in my opinion, it's probably not unprecedented, but I feel like it's sort of it's got like a teenagery vibe to it. It kind of reminds me of being like when I was, like in my early teens and just totally like heartbroken over like a crush that was probably never meant to be. But at the moment it felt like the most important thing in the world, and how the hell am I gonna go on?
And I didn't even get the chance to be fed up with you. Every time you disappear, 'cause whenever you come back, I'd be so glad to see you and think he's just being youthful and flighty. But now I've learned all the times you were sweet with me. Maybe true in the moment, but somewhere uncertain. And I didn't realize our time would be as brief as a little kiss over the shower curtain. And the brutal rejection that you handed me in 3. Did you get to know with any depth or clarity? And I don't blame you, but still that don't make this any fun. I mean, why bother when you can run? Which is just what you did. Show me I'm not worth it. And when you say, Nick, you're so special, I don't believe
you. Intellectually, I could understand that I was being ridiculous, but emotionally, I was just letting it happen. It had to happen in the way that it did. You kind of feel like you're gonna die or something. You know what I mean? Or you just don't know that this isn't the end. But it just feels that way in such a distinct way. It's crazy.
And so it was what, maybe 12 songs about that relationship? And you allude to that it was a brief relationship.
Say, but it definitely took up a lot of bandwidth in my brain world during that time and for a while after. It's embarrassing, but true.
I know you have not been writing very many songs for a while. Do you think your relationship played into that? Do you think it took away from your creative process, or were you just distracted, or?
No, I tend to have long chunks of time these days where I don't do anything, and it's not for any reason. I generally have come to, ever since the songs that were on In an Open Field, basically I'm most comfortable and most interested in writing when I have to do it or feel like, or that's not like it's an assignment, but we're just like, I just strongly am compelled to make something. And if I'm not feeling that, then I just don't do it. So I'm all about easy breezy when it comes to making stuff right now.
Yeah, you're working on 3
it.
different projects right now.
Yeah. I think a lot of it comes down to just like trusting the people you're working with and like loving them and like just knowing that whatever is happening is what's supposed to be happening, you know? Just like I'm into like not fighting against anything when it comes to making stuff at the moment. So it feels
Can
great.
you tell me a little bit about the covers album that you're putting together?
Yeah. A year ago, I got asked to play a show, and I've been playing live solo quite a bit, and I was kind of tired of it. And then I wanted to throw a band together, and I was kind of looking at my songs that I'd been playing, and they were all kind of annoying to learn. I feel like too many chords, too many stuff. There's too much going on. So I started picking songs that I felt like playing that seemed like I could have a little pickup band come in and play with me. And the theme I chose was songs that my friends had written. So, or people that I knew had written. So there's a couple Lake songs.
Yeah, you're doing a couple of our songs
and
from
contemporaries. I think that's
our Giving and Receiving album.
Yeah, including that song, title track. I love that song. I can't believe that song.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's haunting. I remember when Ashley wrote that and shared it with us for the first time. Oh, this is definitely something different.
I would have died. Yeah. The lyrics are incredible. She writes such amazing lyrics. It's insane to me. It's like just simple, and so powerful. Like, I mean, not simple, like, yeah. She transmits ideas very clean and effortlessly, I feel. It's awesome.
I want to drop in a clip here of the song Plants that you sent me.
Sure. Another rough mix, everybody.
The daffodil is a wildflower. The dandelion is a weed. The bluebell is a pretty flower. The holly is a prickly tree. Wheat once did grow wild as apples. Some people are poisoned more easily than others.
The song by my friend Veda Hilly, who is from Vancouver, and she lives down the street from me. And I've known her since I was maybe 16. I was a huge fan of hers in high school, and I would show up to her shows, and I'd go talk to her after shows, and I think she had a bit of a curiosity as to why there was this 15, 16-year-old stan in the front listening to her weird art songs, you know? And so we just, she invited me to some parties, and then when her and her partner would go out of town, I'd house sit, and then over time we just turned into friends. So, and Plants is a song of hers from the early 2000s, and I just dusted it off and came up with a little arrangement, and we recorded it. That recording we did last, because this covers thing we just did was mainly in one day, one session, mainly all recorded live, and that was the last song we did probably at 2:30 in the morning or 3, like quite tired, but the energy there was like wonkily sleepy and pleasing, I feel, because when we listened back to it the next day, we were like, whoa, okay. But at the time we were like, we're out of it, we better stop.
Well, I think it sounds great, and I think it's a really cool idea to just sort of pick from the jukebox that is your friends and familiars, and sort of bring those to a new audience.
Yeah, it's fun, and I didn't give the song selection any thought. And I guess to finish the story, I threw together like a band to do this thing live, and it was fun. And then we did it again at Zebulon in LA in the summertime. And then we were like, this was so fun, we should record it. So we got together in LA 7 months later and just did it.
What's your relationship to Los Angeles? Because you seem to sing about it an awful lot.
Used to anyway, or I mean, I guess it still comes up. I romanticized it a lot as a kid, or those Disneyland trips and whatever else were very like potent for me. Just as I've always kind of like been attracted to the energy there. Includes like the, show busy side and also just the pink light, the nice weather. I don't know. It's like a thing I think about or used to think about a lot as a kid. It left an impression on me. So then I tried to unpack that over that On Sunset record. Make something that kind of felt like those feelings a little bit. But then I ended up spending just more and more time there and lived there for a bit years ago. And
You live there?
I don't know. I did like for a bit in 2011, 2012. That
Okay.
a donkey's age ago. And then I don't know, I go down there often. I love it. It's a great place.
So like you're
for me.
home away from home?
Feels that way, yeah.
But you grew up in Vancouver, BC?
Mm-hmm. Just outside of it, yeah.
And
Still
how
there.
do you feel like that informs your music very much either?
It's starting to, especially this this 4-track Tascam record, and even the Ouch, I would say. The time and place and setting of all these songs are definitely Vancouver, my neighborhood, and all that junk. Track 1 definitely feels Vancouver-y. Probably the most Vancouver-y thing I've made for some reason. Just because the songs are very like... my friend Adele uses this word quotidian, but it's true. That's kind of what they're just like. They're just domestic and small and just kind of just like morning pages. Not much going on really. Observational, tiny, dinky songs.
Do you have a name for your 4-track project?
Not yet. Maybe Ducks, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's the track that you sent me.
Yeah, this is the first one I made up.
A fine day for everyone. Dogs play, ducks swim with all the love in them. I watch, admire their zeal. They believe what they feel.
What inspired the move to 4-track?
I had it in the closet since like 2007 or something, and I was going through stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, this thing, I love this thing. Why don't I use this thing? So I got it tuned up, and that's all really. Yeah, it just seemed fun. And also I feel like we're living in a time where it's really easy to make something sound quite good at home.
Yeah.
Even Ouch was pretty much just recorded at home on like an old laptop and like a couple mics, and I think a lot of that's partially or mainly due to John Collins, who mixed it, polished all my turds, but at the same time I just wanted to make something also at home that I don't think it sounds like shit, but it definitely sounds like not good.
It's not maximalist as
No.
some of your earlier solo records were.
Yeah, absolutely not. But I feel in my bones that the next thing I want to do is probably something a lot more. I've like put absurd ambition to the side for years, and so now I'm feeling like it could be cool to try that again, as a because I'm a slightly different person now.
I'm just glad that you have a trajectory right now. I'm always looking forward to your next release, and
Thanks.
ever since so when I first started seeing you perform, I guess I saw you at What the Heck Fest with probably one of your last No Kids performances. And No Kids was, I know you put out a single with Tom Lab, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
and then
there's
one
a full length and like a 4-song. Yeah.
Yeah. How long was that project around for?
07 to 2011, I think.
Yeah.
Or 08. Yeah. Not long, but long enough.
And then you had Piano before that.
Mm-hmm. My high school band.
That was your high school band?
Yeah.
I don't know. The progression just feels really natural. Working up to where you are today, it totally makes sense, and all the different like energies and life stages translate really well. When did you start writing songs?
Pretty young, or just as far as like making them up.
Yeah.
Definitely like, yeah, early memory of maybe first grade, second grade, Fisher Price tape recorder.
Writing versus making up.
Yeah.
If you'll forgive me for sharing a quick anecdote, I was working at an arcade and a pizzeria in my early 20s, and these kids were talking about all the rap they liked, and I recited this rap I had written about Mr. T. And this kid looked at me and said, "Is that a real song, or did you just make it up?" You know, both.
What did he say? Yeah.
It's a real song now because I made it up.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But when I first started seeing your performances under your own name, you were synonymous with singing through a vocoder. Sorry, your talk box.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you put out the "It Never Was You" single, and then I feel like it was probably a good like maybe 4 years later that you came out with your first record, full length. Do you ever mess around with the talk box anymore?
I haven't. I mean,
Do you still have one?
yeah, well, it's the same one. It's just like whatever I got at the Guitar Center. I went there with Phil, actually. Like, we drove down to like Everett maybe, or whatever Guitar Center was just before Seattle, coming down from Anacortes, and we like deked in there and bought it. And it's all because do you know Gus Franklin from Architecture in Helsinki and other things? He was in Anacortes quite a bit years ago.
Wow.
And he played me that Roger Troutman song Emotions, and I just became obsessed with it. So that kind of just kick-started it for me.
Yeah, it's a real infectious thing. I can understand like sort of becoming obsessed with it.
Yeah. And it's not even like I mastered anything. I just dinked around with it for a minute, but it's fun. That's for sure.
My first impression of your solo work was, well, I was going through a big Sade thing, and I was like, this is the male Sade. This is like, this guy is giving us what Sade isn't giving us when she's in her long interim.
It's really nice.
And yeah, I loved it. Do you remember when we were both at What the Heck Fest and we were both wearing homemade Sade t-shirts on the same day?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. We're nerds.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
Nerds. Talking to my former bandmate Andrew Dorset about how I was going to be talking to you soon. He said something to me about like, I heard that he like did an album with Sean O'Hagan or from the High Llamas and Stereo Lab. He's like, I heard that he was like working with him, or he was gonna work with him, and then he didn't. And I was like, oh well, I don't know if that happened, but if it did, I know which album it was.
No, it's my friend Chris Cummings, who I also cover on that thing I have coming up.
Yeah.
He has a project called Marker Starling.
Yeah.
His last record was recorded with Sean O'Hagan, and I was in London a couple years ago when they were working on it, and went by the studio and just did some singing and hung out and stuff. So that's what that was. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Cummings, he's another Canadian artist.
Yeah. He lives on the edge of Toronto, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, pianist.
He's great. I love him so much. He sings. We duet on one of the songs on the Shabbason Krgovich Harris album that we just did in June.
Yeah, he's a great singer songwriter.
Yeah.
Everybody ought to check him out. Marker Starling.
Please do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really into Trust an Amateur that he put out maybe last year or the year before.
I haven't heard that
It's
yet.
a good one. Yeah, I recommend it.
Back to Sean O'Hagan, I really thought that In an Open Field was very evocative of High Llamas, particularly like, say, Hawaii or Beat Maize and Corn albums that he put out. And I told Andrew that, oh, well, if Sean O'Hagan had anything to do with Nicholas Krgovich, it was this album. Is there any truth to that? Are you a fan of his, or?
I think in principle, yeah, and also meeting him and working with him, yeah. But I had Cold and Bouncy on CD when I was in high school, but that's the only one that I know and have heard. But I think maybe what you're hearing probably is me thinking about like the Stereo Lab records I listened to in the mid-90s.
Okay.
And those kind of rubbed off on In an Open Field here and there, I think. So
That is so lush.
maybe it's that. Yeah. But also brittle.
I'm just a sleepy snake, now all coiled up, watching everything happen. Another parade goes by and it means nothing to me. Well, who needs another day like this? Well, who needs another song to sing when they'll all just blow around like garbage in the street? It can be awful love, all the way to the top. It still can be that. It still can be that.
The instrumentation on that, was that your friends of yours or studio musicians, or
Yeah,
who's making
everybody
all the
was
sounds?
It was friends or friends of friends, and most of it was recorded in the UK with label mates of mine that I've toured with as like a live band, and so we went to the studio. And also Peter Zumo, the trombonist from New York, was in town, so he was in there as well. And then I mentioned to Rich from my label that I would like some like pedal steel, and he's like, oh, I know BJ Cole or whatever, and he's like this legendary pedal steel person that lives in London, and he played on like Tiny Dancer and stuff like that. He's played on Everybody's Everything.
Wow.
And so he drove up. So, and then I went to LA with the files and added some stuff there, and then brought it to my friend John Collins in Vancouver, and he mixed everything here.
How long did that record take you?
A while, but not of constant work. Also, John, I kind of appreciate it that he takes his time. Not that he's just like, I don't know, it's a slow process. He's a busy person and works on stuff when he can, but it's kind of funny how, yeah, I don't know, it wasn't very factory like anything about that record anyway, but yeah, so it took some time.
Yeah, I feel like I read that you sort of were like banging those songs out until you realized that you were working on a record. Just another one of those like songwriting spurts.
Yeah, that was kind of the vibe then. I was living in this little hut behind my friend's house on Gabriola Island, the small island off Vancouver Island. And it was the winter time, and I was there for 3 or 4 months, and there's literally nothing to do. So I would just make stuff. And so I whittled that album out of those songs that I came up with there.
Yeah, I want my listeners to hear a little piece of Do It Again from that album right here.
Sure.
I stand alone in the yard by the rabbits. I watch the birds. I hear the frogs. I pet the cat and go inside.
That album is very pastoral, and I mean, in preparation for this interview, I've been listening to all of your output, but I feel like I've listened to In an Open Field probably a dozen times at least.
Oh, wow. Nice, thanks.
It just really speaks to me somehow. I think it's just got such a pastoral feel to it, and, you know, with you singing about petting farm animals and just it has a real like backyard or like walking through woods, nothing to do sort of vibe to it, and a lot of just sort of describing your surroundings and the feelings that evokes, and it's just so relatable.
That's nice to hear. That's one of those records, because there was such a mass of songs that I picked through to put them together. I didn't really do that with any sort of like themes or intentions in mind. They just kind of, I pulled those 12 songs out of maybe 50 or something. And when I did that, it wasn't because they were saying anything in particular about anything. I just liked them and wanted to work on them. So it's good that they hang together all right.
Yeah. What's going on in Vancouver these days? Or outside Vancouver? Have you ever gotten into another relationship since Ouch?
Oh, yeah. He's in the other room. It's over 2 years, actually.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's great. I'm psyched. I feel like he pops up a lot on the 4-track record, but not in any sort of like dramatic way. It's just, those songs are very much just about my day-to-day. So he's very much a part of that. So,
well, I'm glad to hear that.
Thanks. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's all good. But what else is going on here? I work and get up at 6:18, have a shower, put the kettle on before I go in the shower. It's boiled by the time I get out of it. Make coffee, toast, eat an apple, work till 5 at my job that's about a 6 or 7 minute drive down the road that I've had since I was 16. And then I come home, and now that the days are longer, I usually like to go for a run after work and then have 1 or 2 beers, and I basically make the same food for dinner all the time. I've been making just flippin' brown rice, steamed kale, some chopped up tomatoes maybe, and I've been really into holy kraut,
Sure,
the sauerkraut that they finally carry that up here.
Oh,
So
wow.
I've been buying that one, plop that in, some tempeh maybe.
Yeah, they're a sponsor for this episode, hopefully.
Are they really?
Oh,
Okay.
I don't know. I'm gonna ask now.
Ask now. Deepest shout out to holy kraut. Katie Davidson got me into that.
Oh yeah, Katie
that brand.
Davidson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dear Nora, right?
Dear Nora. Yeah. I've been playing in that group for the last maybe 3 years now. I don't know. We were just all in LA together last month. We went to Disneyland and played a show at the Bootleg. I love them.
Yeah. Another iconic Northwestern staple.
Yeah. Wonderful songwriter. There's a cover to Dear Nora songs on that covers thing too.
Oh, of course. There's got to be.
Yeah. And what else? Oh yeah, I'm just taking you through my day. How does that sound to you?
I love it.
My life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I want
Cool.
that.
Yeah. It feels like oddly regimented a bit right now, but it's okay.
Yeah, well, you're a lifer at the company you work at. It sounds like.
Yeah, but I've always had long times. It's been classically a seasonal job, and just because of what's going on in the world right now, we actually did get laid off. So I usually have large parts of the year where I don't have to work there, and that's been really helpful to me to go on tour or work on music and stuff. And the longer I've been there, I've been inching up the seniority list. So those in the last couple years, I'm mainly working there full time, but now I'm got my 2 weeks notice yesterday or the other day. So
Oh, wow.
back to living like an old retired lady
Yeah.
for a while,
Yeah.
which I like. I'm really good at just letting a day go somehow.
Yeah.
I don't get bored very easily.
Yeah, I've been at the same company for going on 13 years now. Yeah.
Really? What do you do?
I work at a bakery here in Olympia. And
Which one?
San Francisco Street Bakery.
Okay. Are you the baker?
I'm the retail manager and a prep cook and a baker, and I train janitors and do scheduling and work the counter, and basically the only thing I don't do at the bakery is make bread.
Whoa.
But I
Amazing.
in the course of the last 13 years, I've pretty much picked up on everything else. Matter of fact, I'm going to be the delivery driver in a couple weeks to give our delivery guy
that'll be
a
fun.
vacation. So,
Cool.
yeah, I'm I call myself the helper now. I just try to help everybody. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it's, it's good when I feel really blessed to have found someone who has been willing to accommodate my schedule and, give me a lot of leeway. For 10 years, they would let me go on tour for X amount of time and then always come back to work.
Yeah. That's great. My job has been like that too. Like I left for a year and a half and they were like, okay. And then like came back as if nothing had changed. That's one thing that's amazing about my job is like, I was gone for a year and a half, came back to Vancouver, went on tour with Phil for 2 weeks in Japan.
You're talking about Phil Elverum, just to clarify, of Mount Erie. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so I hadn't been to work for a long time. And then I was at work straight back from Japan at 7 a.m. And I felt like no no one had changed. Nothing about the job had changed. No new faces. I felt like I hadn't even left. It's like very strange in that way, but kind of weirdly comforting, I guess.
Oh, that reminds me. I did want to talk about your role as sort of a, you've been a collaborator with a lot of people, and notably with Mount Erie. You've done a lot of time as a band member with Phil.
Yeah.
How did that come about, and what role do you feel like that played in your trajectory?
It's just mainly because we were friends. And I was maybe just around or something. I don't know. Oh, actually, no, I lie. In 2007, we got paired up to make a song together for Tom Lab put out an album with lyrics written by David Shrigley. Like, they assigned artists to come up with songs for David Shrigley lyrics, who's that Scottish artist, visual artist. And Phil and I got paired up and we made something, and it was super fun. So I think maybe that planted a seed in his mind.
And that was Worried Noodles, is that right?
Yeah. So we did three songs for that, and then
that might have been my first exposure to you as an artist. I've had that since it came out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And now that I think about it.
Yeah, and then
before I knew who you were or anything, that's probably how I first heard your stuff.
Right. Yeah. Because up until that, Phil and I had been friends for years, but never made anything together. And so then I started hopping in on stuff, and then we started going on tour together a lot. And that's the most touring I've ever done in my life, was that little window with Mount Erie, which was a while ago now, but it was substantial. But I don't know how it affected my trajectory, other than it was just something I was doing. But yeah, it was fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
And who else have you collaborated with over the years, notably?
My friend Amber, I co-wrote 4 songs on her last record, and that came out maybe 2 years ago now.
What's that called?
It's called, oh my gosh, Amber Kaufman. This album is called City of No Reply. I didn't even look it up. I remembered it. My brain is just like speaking of noodles, like a noodle. Yeah, City of No Reply. There's 4 songs on there that I helped with, and then I played on it.
That sounds like an opportunity to play a sample.
Yeah, sure.
Do you remember a title of one?
Yeah, maybe play. I really like this song called Do You Believe that we recorded together, and I helped write.
On the paper, dotted lines I traced, strong and kind, things I always wanted to find, and I was blinded by your colors, but you were on the ground, broken wing, all of the other birds too scared to help, but I you sing, and now you make me feel like I'm the last thing on your mind, taking your sweet time with your replies. How is playing it safe working out for you? How is playing it safe working out for you?
I think it's a special one. It's vibey as hell. Yeah. And that was really fun, because it was just the band that she put together was so good. It was like, yeah. And we recorded those bed tracks live. And I just remember when we tracked that song, it was the sun was going down, so the skylights were dimming, and it felt very vibey, very good.
Well, that's great.
Great cymbal sound.
I guess you've got a pretty good you've got your hands full right now with the sort of non-touring, non-large crowd epidemic that's happening right now.
Yeah.
You've got the three albums that you're working on.
Yep.
And I can't wait to hear all those.
Cool. Yeah. One other thing, Katie from Dear Nora and Zach from Ehe, who also plays in Dear Nora, we've been starting just to chip away at making some songs for like licensing. So next time.
Oh.
Yeah. And
commercial music?
Yeah. And we've got one almost done, and it's so fun doing that stuff with people, because doing it by yourself is depressing as hell. So.
Oh yeah.
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 Whether or not anything happens is another thing, but it's just as like a exercises or whatever it's really fun trying to do this. How are we feeling?
You know, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground here, and I've never talked to you for this long before, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, me too. Heck yeah.
I think I'll probably play Country Boy.
Great. Love it. Yeah. I still
can you say a little something about that song?
Sure. That one I made up in 2012. After I went on tour with Night Jewel for about a month in Europe, and I came back. Whenever I'm in Europe, I always just like yearn for the West for some reason, or like America and Canada, I guess. And so I don't know. I think I was just thinking about like American themes a lot when I was in Europe. Cause like I remember one of the first times I went to Europe, I like instinctively on the train after landing, like put on Born in the USA or whatever. And I don't know what it is. I'm not a very European person. Or like I'm a super European person. My last name's like Eastern Euro as hell. Or like
yeah, I've never. You are really easy to Google. If you know how to spell your last name, Krgovich.
Yeah. But
so a little bit of Western yearning.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. And then also, man, I haven't really thought about it too much. Even at the time, there was also actually, you know what? I think I was listening to later Prefab Sprout albums in the van too on that Night Jewel tour, and like
I definitely hear that.
Yeah, and I was thinking, and it's kind of like the same kind of yearning for America that Patty McClune started doing a lot in like everything from like all of them, like yeah. I think it was mainly me dipping my toe into that. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of feel like you're sort of carrying the Prefab Sprout torch a little bit.
Oh damn, yeah.
These days.
It's a nice compliment.
Apparently he's got something new coming out.
Oh really?
Pretty
Great.
soon.
Love it.
That's what I've heard.
Cool.
But I know his songwriting process is a lot different nowadays.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm interested to hear what might be coming. Cool. Yeah. So I guess that's all it is. But this is one of the rare songs that I love singing still. Like I always play it at shows and stuff, and whatever's going on in it hasn't died in me. So that's cool. It's a cool one to go out on, I guess.
All right. Well, Nicholas Krgovich, we did it.
Yeah.
I think we did.
Feels great.
Everybody, here's Country Boy. Be sure and look up the video for this song online as well. It's terrific.
Thanks.
And thank you so much for talking to us.
No problem. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. And we all look forward to everything that you're coming out with soon. And everybody, check out the back catalog as well. Thank you so much for your time today.
No problem. Bye.
I'm a country boy, loving every minute of my life. Just a country boy, really living out here, and I'm gonna die peaceful in my sleep at 105. Was the fire burning low? Whoa. And no surprises in the bedside table. Finding love so easy and a family all around. Eating plums in autumn that have fallen on the ground. I could be dreaming, but call me Billy anyway. As I disappear in the fields tonight, they're all ablaze. I'm a country boy. I'm a country boy, loving every minute of my life. Just a country boy, really living out here. You can see it in my eyes. So clear. At end of day, just rocking back and forth. I will be so good to you.